3, 2, 1, go. Hey, what's up guys? So I just want to show you how I wet sand my sculpts. Of course, when you print, you get all these marks and things where the supports are. So I just want to show you how I wet sand and get really smooth prints that look great, and you can lay primer and paint on and they look really nice and professional. So the first thing that you want to do is just have some water. Wet sanding is good because then the resin dust isn't getting everywhere. It's kind of contained. And then you also want to have different levels of sandpaper. So you want to start out with the roughest one. This is a little dirty. This is 120. So I always start out with the roughest sandpaper. As you can see, it's very used. I usually only do 3 levels. This is 320, so this is also pretty rough. So the lower the number, this is 120, this is the roughest. This is 320. This is also quite rough. This is 600. And this is 2000. So it's not really that rough, but this will be the last one we use. So pretty simple. We might not need the 120, but I guess we can start with that. So I'm just going to wet it. Like so. So you see here all these marks. Put that in as well. Still getting a little bit of dust, probably because this is actually pretty dusty as well. So I'm just going to sand. Sometimes I tend to press hard, but you don't really need to. So I'm just going to sand off all of this back part until it feels nice and smooth, in the sense that there's no pieces still sticking out that I can feel with this. I'm also going to do a bit on the front. You might be able to see, I'll see if I can go in closer. So there's these kind of ring marks from the printing. My throat is going crazy. So there's these little ring marks from the printing that we want to get rid of as well. So we want this to be smooth also. So I'm going to continue to use the really rough grit and just sort of work on that as well. Okay, so this is how it looks after the 120 grit, which is really, really rough. I still see some more little specks here, so I might go over it a little bit more. But essentially, much smoother than it was, and pretty smooth to the touch. But this is when you move up to a little bit higher grit. So this is 320. And this will smooth it a little bit smoother than the 120. So the 320 will smooth it a little bit more than the 120, and then I'll go up to probably 600. That'll smooth it more, and then the 2000 will smooth it a lot more than that. And of course, if you feel like there's more that you need to do with the 120, you can always go back and go over it again with 120, and then just repeat the process. So now I'm going to go over it with 2000. It feels quite smooth now. As you can see, there's nothing on, there's no little marks here. There's some discoloration, but that's just discoloration in the resin. It's actually pretty flat. There's a little bit of discoloration here, but I went over it a lot, so I don't think that will show up. Hopefully not. But it's really smooth. I'm going to go over it with 2000, and then I will take the same sandpaper, and I'll probably just go over some of these little pieces as well. Maybe this little leaf piece, because all this needs to be sanded and smoothed as well. And I just want to add that when you smooth with 2000, it feels really nice. It feels like a professional. It really makes it feel like a professional, well done, smooth piece. I can't wait to prime it and paint it once it gets smooth. So it's a lot of work, but it's really satisfying once it's really smooth. So here we have the final. It's nice and smooth, much different than before. No bumps, no jagged edges, and you feel it, and it almost feels like glass. It feels just like glass. It's super smooth. So that's pretty much how I sand all my pieces. Obviously, I print it, so most of the supports and things are on the back, but it's good to sand the whole thing and just make the whole thing smooth. And as long as you go from a lower grit, like 100, 200, up to like 2000, then you'll get a really great finish, and it'll be really smooth. It'll take the primer and the paint really well. So I'm going to do some other ones now, but thanks for joining me. Hopefully this was useful, and hopefully you guys get some nice clean prints. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.
Bye bye.